like to call this meeting of the Clay County Commission to order. We will begin with our invocation. Tina Freestone, if you'd like to come up and lead us in that. Excuse me?
One press?
Yes. As long as the green light is on. There you go.
I'm on. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come to Thee this evening with humble hearts and express our gratitude to Thee for Thy many blessings. We're grateful, Heavenly Father, for this commission, and we pray for each of them and their family, and grateful for the time that they dedicate to this community to lead it and guide it. We pray that Thy Spirit would be upon them, that they would do Thy will and be mindful of the citizens of our great Clay County. And we appreciate all that they do. We're grateful for all the workers, Heavenly Father, and ask a special blessing to be upon them. And we pray for the citizens of our community. Wilt Thou be mindful of them and bless them with what they stand in need of. We're grateful, Heavenly Father, for this free country, and we're grateful for those who serve this country and have also paid the ultimate sacrifice by giving their lives so that we may be free. Again, Father, we express our love and gratitude to Thee for all that we've been blessed with, and we say these things most humbly in the sacred name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington?
Here.
Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson? And Commissioner Carpenter.
With that, we will go to approval of the agenda. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
That brings us to public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the commission on any issues that are important to them? Yes, ma'am. By the way, when you come up, please make sure the green light is on, identify yourself, and then proceed with your comments. Yes, there you go. You should be good.
Good evening. My name is Linda Hetzel. I reside at 13318 Plattsburgh Road in Kearney, Missouri. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments in an open session this evening. You have a handout I brought on invasive plants expanding in Missouri. And now's a great time to talk about them because they're all going to seed up and down the roadways. So I'm here to ask how the county is addressing invasive plant species along county roadways and public right-of-ways. And I apologize if you already have a great system in place working on this, and I need to learn about it if I've missed it. My experience on Plattsburgh Road is, of course, extensive. We have calorie pear, garlic mustard, Cerisa lespedeza, autumn olive, bird's foot trefoil, burning bush. And the Missouri Council on Invasive Species did luckily just, I think, were successful in getting legislation to stop the sale of the invasive plants, but unfortunately there's a lot running loose. And I'm not asking for indiscriminate roadside spraying. We did have an experience from the highway department that killed my wildflowers, but not the Johnson grass. So I really want it to be more targeted interventions and the least toxic possible. We have 14 acres that we've regenerated into Missouri tallgrass prairie. We've planted over 1,000 trees. We manicure it. We've maintained our Plattsburgh roadside for 30 years. We mow it and weed it, but it's getting harder and harder to weed out the invasives from our landscape, our farmscape. I think what happened the last time when they killed the roadside spraying was used for killing is that it was an historical practice, the chemical was, and there was no one currently looking at new chemicals or best practices. So what I'd like to see is an efficient, comprehensive program using Missouri Invasive Task Force work to guide a county-wide approach. You know, our little weeding of our tiny farm isn't going to stop any invasive spread. We need a lot of help. And maybe one thing that could sort of stop some of the spread is to require that hay and debris haulers cover their loads. Because personally, I know they're hauling the big round bales up and down past me, and seed is going everywhere. So they're really just planting the roadsides as they haul. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could make sure a copy of your handout goes to our administrator. And Mr. Administrator, if you could share that with our Parks Director, and then give us some feedback once you've had a chance to look it over, because it is a rather extensive list, so I certainly would want the input of staff on that.
Thank you. You have it.
Great. Thank you very much for being here. Are there any other citizens who wish to address the County Commission? Seeing none. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, tonight we have 2 items on our consent agenda. The first one is commission meetings from July 24th and July 31st, both meetings, the 5 p.m. and the 6 p.m. meeting. The next one is 2025-234, approval of invoices for Clay County from the period of July 26th through August 1st. We have 243 invoices totaling $512,904.21.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Did you have a comment? Okay, just wanted to make sure I saw you activated your microphone. If there are no further comments, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yep.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
That concludes our consent agenda. Next is our regular agenda. There is one item on that agenda, 2025-235. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, we have regular item 2025-235, approval of invoices for Clay County Prosecutor's Office in the period of July 26th through August 1st. We have 9 invoices totaling $1,105.96 for approval tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-235.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2025-235. Any further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
That concludes our regular agenda, and now what we've all been waiting for, which is under discussion items, Parks Naturalist presentation, and I believe we have some rather cold-blooded friends visiting today. Mr. Administrator, if you'd like
Yes. Tonight we have our interns. I'll let John Davis move it, our Parks Director, to introduce them and go from there.
to please proceed.
John Davis, Parks Director. Tonight we wanted to kind of give you a special program, update about our naturalist program that we've had for many years. It's managed by 3 full-time employees. Aaron Kage is supervisor. Raise your hand, Aaron. Xavier Hammond and Carlos Martinez are other full-time employees that are not here tonight. We also use college interns, which we have the group here tonight, and occasionally we use high school interns on occasions. Their responsibilities for the naturalist program are overseeing all of our educational programs. They also help manage 150 acres of prairie grass program. They also conduct water samples at our swim beaches for E. coli testing for public safety. They also maintain our sewer lagoons at the lake. That's our pond systems. They also perform mowing, irrigation, and other environmental activities. Our naturalist programs cover a wide range of topics, including demonstrations on Missouri reptiles and education on native prairie plants. These programs are primarily youth-orientated and are offered every weekend in the campgrounds. In addition to the campground programming, our naturalists take these presentations on the road. They have been to every mid-continent public library in the county and some outside of the county with these programs. They attend daycare centers and also private schools. They do public events. We're at a National Night Out Against Crime this week. They have been in school programs in every school district in Clay County and some outside. And they also help run the Nature Center, which is now located at Parks office and houses all of our animals and other things. They also partner with other groups such as the YMCA and do summer camp programs. They've partnered with Kansas City Parks and done summer youth camps, basically day camps. We've teamed up with other park agencies like Smithville Parks and Rec, where we attend the haunted campground, and then we have a Halloween, at the dog park. Those events are coming up. They've also done some youth fishing events in the city of Gladstone in their ponds. Additionally, our naturalist teams plan and take care of the Lake Cleanup Day, which is held on September 20th this year. If you all are interested, I hope you are. And this year we've expanded our outreach programs at senior centers and nursing homes to enhance the life or quality of life for participants of all ages with natural resources. Tonight's focus is on our college interns. They played an essential role in supporting these natural resource programs. This makes a notable year that they're no longer hired through temporary staffing. We went through that budget adjustment last week. They are part-time county employees. This gives them a stronger credentials when they're applying for federal jobs, or not federal, but government jobs in their future related to natural resources. And it gives them a better sense of belonging to Clay County and not a temp agency. So I'm proud to introduce 5 of our young professionals. They'll share their academic backgrounds and showcase some of their projects with you all. And Jackson Cartwright will start, and I'll get out of the way.
Hello there. My name is Jackson Cartwright. I am a senior at Missouri Western State University. I got this internship looking into wildlife rehabilitation and domestic rescue, and it has shown that I really enjoy doing education and outreach in programs such as this, and that's what I want to continue doing until the time comes I'm able to progress into wildlife rehabilitation. So it's been a really great experience for that. It's given me tons of opportunities to talk with people of all ages and all backgrounds about their different interactions with nature and animals and why they might like them or not like them, and just give them just hear experiences from everybody. One of the main things that we do is our educational programs and our shows. So we talk to tons of kids, adults, whoever shows up, about our native animals is where we like to mainly put our focus, because live animals are interesting and you're very likely to see live animals, and that's what a lot of people are they're gonna look at something like a fox pelt and be like, oh, I've seen a fox running around, something like that. So a lot of our programs are focused on bridging that kind of gap in between what they know and what we know, and kind of giving them a sense of connection and importance for wildlife. We like to talk a lot about each animal's place, what it does, why it's good, Even if it's something that might be considered generally a pest or unliked, we like to say like, yeah, you know, we understand, but here are good things that it does that are useful and important. Something we will talk about in this example I have here. This here is Art. He is a tiger salamander. They are a native salamander to Missouri. We use him and talk about stuff such as pollution and disposal of trash, because like all amphibians, frogs, salamanders, they can breathe with their skin. So they have incredibly thin skin that allows them to breathe air through their skin as well as with their lungs. And that means that their skin has to be incredibly thin, which means they are what we call ecosystem indicators, which means their presence or absence can tell us a lot about how healthy an ecosystem is, because they are incredibly sensitive to changes in pollutants and stuff like that. Art here is very fun. A lot of people initially think he's a lizard, but he is not. They're just like frogs, where they start out their life living in water, and then they will often metamorph to live on land. Not all salamanders do, and something that we will also use in our salamander talks is to talk about the hellbender, which is the third largest salamander in the world. They're endangered, but they are in Missouri. St. Louis Zoo has a huge breeding program on them. So it's good to get people excited about the wildlife that might be in their backyard, because that's where these guys live. 80% of their life they live underground, but they love to live in people's backyards, just right under your nose. So I actually found this guy in the basement of a house. So you definitely could see one. They're very common, but they just aren't always above ground. But with that, I am going to hand it off to Braxton, who's going to talk some more.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Braxton Chambers. I am also a Smithville Lake Nature Center intern. I am a senior currently attending Missouri Western State University, same as some of my other interns here. And I am excited to talk to you guys about today of why I am at Smithville Lake Nature Center this summer for their internship program. As a kid, I grew up being very outdoorsy. My family was frequenting camping quite much. And actually, some of my earliest memories and exposure to nature was at Smithville Lakes Campground. So I'm very familiar with the area. Clay County has been involved with my life for a very long time, especially when it comes to the nature side. So I'm very excited to give back to the community in this way. And that's what our program's about, right? So nature is this thing that everybody uses, and not many people actually have an understanding about the sciences behind things that drive us to conserve and protect nature. And I believe that that's what's most important about a program like ours. Initially, I got involved with the Smithville Lake Nature Center program through a Missouri Department of Conservation conference, MNRC, that recently took place this last February. That is where I met my supervisor, Aaron, and we hit it off, and I was able to go forward from there and set up to work over here over the summer, which is an amazing opportunity, I find. And eventually, I hopefully plan to go in a similar field. I love being a wildlife educator. I find myself being very excited to be involved with things like children. Children get very excited whenever they get to see these animals up close and learn more about them. They want to know how they can see them, how they can help to protect them. And especially for the adults too. The adults you get to have more intelligent conversations with, like they want to understand what goes behind taking care of these creatures, how they can contribute to it. And that's what we're really excited to help tell them about. We're excited about bringing the understanding of the knowledge of nature. A lot of folks know that it is there, it's in their backyard, but they don't really know what goes into keeping it safe and protecting it. A lot of people have the understanding, and especially in our age of where stuff like pollutants and chemicals and everything like that, all those buzzwords get thrown around, people want to understand what they can do better. So I'm very excited to help contribute to that. My personal interest also comes from, I went into this program with kind of more of an an interest in the science behind avian bird species in Missouri and the rest of the United States. But I come to find that I actually love the reptiles that we have. We have many different animals at the Nature Center, 8 snakes, 4 turtles, a salamander, a lizard, and it's very exciting that we get to be able to show them off to the community. This one right here specifically, I'm getting different looks from every person about their personal opinions of snakes, because that is quite common when you enter a room with a snake. This guy is a pretty important ambassador. His name is Omelet. Omelet is a western rat snake. These guys are some of the most common large snakes that you will see in Missouri, especially in an area like Smithfield Lake, in a strong, very heavily wooded area. That's where these guys like to prefer. They are tree snakes, so they're arboreal. They like to climb a lot of trees. They like to stick to cover. That also can kind of be said by their camouflage. You could see the black color on top of his body that helps him blend in with thick, dark tree lines. And you could see the white color on the bottom of his body that helps him blend in. If something is underneath him, they look up in a tree and it kind of blends in with that skyline. So there are a lot of different ways that they can hide from us. So I like to tell people about how they can better look for them. Not many people know that they can just look up into a tree and find them. Now, what a lot of people seem to neglect is the fact that snakes are very important to the ecosystems here in Missouri. Most folks, unfortunately, and it's understandable, it's a snake, right? Not a lot of people want to be close to a snake, and that's totally fine. But they are very important to the natural life cycle of the natural world. And we come close to this species, the western rat snake, specifically a lot, because a lot of folks own chicken coops. We actually named this guy Omelet because he is actually, it kind of goes to show that he is actually a big consumer of eggs here in Missouri. They're actually one of the top predators of bird nests in Missouri. So when a lot of people will come to encounter these guys in those chicken coops. And a lot of people, unfortunately, have a lack of understanding or a lack of knowledge regarding these snakes, and will unfortunately sometimes be driven to kill them so that they can just be rid of them. We like to advocate for the protection of these species, not only because they're important native animals, but they can actually help you as well as a property owner. If you find a snake in your chicken coop, snakes tend to eat very little. They might eat 1 or 2 eggs, maybe a week or 2, and stay dormant from there. It takes a lot of energy for them to digest them. But they will also help deter rodents. They are very good rodent killers, which is why most people might find them in their basement or in their house, because they found mice in there and they're helping to eliminate those mice. And these snakes are also not very aggressive as well. They're known to be a docile species, so generally pretty calm. Of course there are exceptions to that. Omelet here is no exception to that, though, because he's a very cuddly snake. You can see he's just kind of sitting here while I'm talking. He's very kind. So we like to advocate for people to help protect these species, because not only will they help the environment, but they're going to help you as well. And a lot of people don't know the difference between venomous and non-venomous snakes. I like to help teach that as well. Fortunately, all the venomous snakes here in Missouri are called pit vipers, so they all share very similar traits. Pit vipers all have a triangular shaped head, very identifiable from a distance. These guys, as you can see with Omelet, have a very symmetrical head that kind of matches the size of their neck, not very much bigger than the base of their neck is. A pit viper will be much more identifiable because the base of that triangle is where their neck meets. And of course, some of us know cat eyes. Venomous snakes have that singular slit pupil cat eye. This guy has a round pupil. And there are various other things that you can learn to identify very specific species of snakes, but I like to advocate for these things because these guys are very important, and that goes for all different kinds of reptiles. But that's all I have to say here, so I am going to pass it on to...
Hold on a moment. We have 2 commissioners. I believe Commissioner Lawson would like to handle the snakes. Or... I'm kidding.
I'm not afraid of snakes. I think they're really interesting. And if you have a barn and you have your feed in the barn, you love to have a snake in there to get those rats and mice away from it. No, they don't bother me. I'll touch it. I'll hold it.
I love that. Yeah, we love to hear that, because a lot of people, they'll complain about these rats and mice eating their feed that they just leave sitting around, and these snakes are really good at deterring them. I mean, a lot of mammals have really good senses of smell. That's no exception for rats or mice. So even just smelling that snake will make them run away. So really good deterrents.
What are you going to do after you graduate?
After I graduate, the field of conservation is very wide. That's my passion. I would love to stick to conservation education. And I love to work with crowds, work with the public. That is my passion. But I could see myself jumping to a couple new a couple different positions, trying new things, whether it's, you know, a government position of some sort or whether I work for a private agency. I'm kind of open for anything, you know. I understand that I'm young and I have to try a bunch of different new experiences to find where I'm going to end up landing in life. So, but hopefully I get to stick in education.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Johnson, one moment, please.
Yeah.
Commissioner Johnson.
What's your major?
My major is in wildlife conservation and management.
And what was yours? Same thing? Is
Yeah.
everybody the same major?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so that snake, how long has that snake been omelet? How long has he been in captivity?
So that's not really a question I can answer. Do you know?
No, well, yeah, we haven't had that snake quite that long,
Yeah.
8 years roughly.
Oh.
It's definitely been handled by multiple people and seen hundreds if not thousands of kids.
So most snakes like that, because I have a ton of those snakes on my property, they can't be handled like that?
Well, there are exceptions to that, of course, but black rat snakes are generally known to be more calm, like I said. Actually, I would argue that a lot of them, you probably can't, you know, just put them on top of your body and let them sit like this, right? He's used to being handled. But if a snake, like a black rat snake, is aware of your presence, it's going to tell you if it's upset. So it's going to hiss up, it's going to coil. Some of them mimic rattlesnakes by shaking their tail when they're mad. But if they're not exhibiting those signs and you want to move it, I would say the worst thing that'll happen is that you'll take a bite. It's not really going to do anything to you. They're not venomous. But very likely they're going to tell you if they're mad. And if you want to try to pick them up, maybe just touch them, see how they react to it. And if he doesn't, you know, jump or strike at you or anything, feel free to move him.
So let's talk about that bite. Do they have teeth?
So not really, no. They don't have conventional
Not
teeth.
really. It's a yes or no. Either they got teeth or they don't.
They have, I mean, I don't really know what the technical term for it is.
They don't have fangs, but they have kind of
Well, break.
Sharp ridges in their mouth.
Enough to break the skin?
So it will break the skin. So, you know, I understand being squeamish about that. But you know, if you want to try something new and you're brave, go for it. They're really not an aggressive species, and you're not really likely to take a bite if it is aware that you're going to make contact with it.
Okay.
Scaring the heck out of it by touching it when it doesn't see you is another thing.
And they eat, obviously, rodents. Anything else?
Well, generally, they mostly will eat rodents. A lot of folks like to say when we're talking about snakes that most snakes will pretty much eat anything that they can digest that will fit in the biggest part of their body about 2 times big. So twice bigger than the biggest part of their body is about the biggest that they will eat.
So let's say he eats a mouse today. How long does he go before he wants another mouse?
It can typically, so it takes a lot of energy for snakes to digest their food.
Yeah.
They actually, since they don't get the benefit of gravity like most animals, they have to manually push stuff through their digestive system. So they have to use energy to even eat stuff. So they'll usually only eat like 1 or 2 things at a time, and it takes them like a week or 2 to digest it.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
By the
Thank
way,
you.
before we conclude on all this, I would like to get, because I've got some grandsons who would be pretty much lose their minds over the snakes and all the other reptiles and amphibians. Before you go, certainly let us know what the hours are when people can come in and see, the various exhibits. But I didn't want to break up the flow now. I just want to make sure, in case it slipped my mind, that we got that out to the public.
The specific hours of the nature?
We
Okay,
can,
he'll
we can
take care
cover
of it.
that at the end of the presentation.
Sounds great. Well, I
Thank
think
you.
I will pass it on to Dave.
Hello, my name is Dea Keithley. I am also a seasonal naturalist or an intern at Smithville Lake. I am also a senior at Missouri Western State University, also going for a bachelor in wildlife conservation and management. I have always been really into the outdoors. My mom has always taken me kayaking, and I've been around a lot of people that are not scared to pick up wild animals. So I've gotten to interact with a few things, like a lot of turtles, to be exact. But But one of the things that kind of inspired me to go after this is one day in Columbia, Missouri, I took my little brother to a place called Rock Bridge State Park. And there they had a naturalist program happening, and they were teaching us all about the insect life that's in the creek. And I thought that was so fascinating, and I thought that it would be amazing to just be able to educate the public like that, and to be able to just be part of something where I can tell people about something you wouldn't even usually think about on your way out in the wild. I aspire overall to work in wildlife rehabilitation. So that takes a lot of education to back it up, because if people don't understand why they should care about an animal, they're not going to take it to a rehabilitator to help it out and figure out if it can be saved and rehabilitated and put back into the wild. If that doesn't work out, though, I have a backup plan to be an illustrator for wildlife journals, wildlife books, and I think that's very amazing. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the Sand County Almanac, but that has inspired me a lot. One of our professors, Dr. Chevalier, had us read that during one of our classes, and it just amazed me. This internship has actually helped me a lot in getting some experience with illustrating by being able to create place cards that are informative of our different animals that we have here at the Nature Center. This is Kings.
Are those your illustrations?
Yes, they are.
Oh, great. Would you mind, I'd kind of like to be interested, if you wouldn't mind passing them around, I'd like to take a closer look.
Yeah. I have two animals here, and these are both of their place cards. First up, we have King. He is a three-toed box turtle. His name is very straightforward. He has 3 toes on the back of his foot here. They're pretty long, and where he gets that term box in his name is because he has this hinge right here. He can fold himself in pretty much. He's a hidden neck turtle, so that means that he can completely move his head into his shell along with his arms and legs and pretty much become like a little rock. This is a fantastic defense mechanism for them because a lot of animals aren't strong enough to pry them open, or they'll get bored trying and they'll move along the way to something that's easier for them. He is what we call a terrestrial turtle, also means that he lives on land. Usually he's not a water turtle. You can tell because he's got this big old dome on his shell. A lot of our water turtles are very streamlined, like we like to say. Also, he's got these foot pads. Our water turtles would have webbed feet. You can kind of see it, that orange coloration on his chin. Mm-hmm. So that's why he has one of the reasons he has the name King is because he's a boy. And that orange coloration is what tells us that he's a boy. So if you found one of these guys in the wild and they had yellow on their chin, they would be a girl. And that's really fun because usually you won't see them in groups together to be able to identify the other reasons. They're very solitary. In fact, King here cannot have roommates. He would be kind of aggressive towards them. He's super friendly towards us, loves humans, loves human interaction. But if he was met with another turtle, he'd probably be pretty headstrong towards them. A really important thing about him is that he's the Missouri state reptile. So you'll find these guys pretty much all over Missouri. They're heavier in the south, but you can still find them up here. And a lot of people think about turtles, and you might think about them crossing the road. They do that a lot whenever it rains. A lot of aquatic turtles will decide to cross the road to get to another pond. These guys, if you can stop to help them, I definitely would. Almost 98% of turtles don't make it their first time encountering a highway. So if you can help them and take a minute out of your day, it is so appreciated by them. And you may have also seen them flipped over. I've been driving and I've seen one flipped over onto its back before. It is upsetting for them. It's very stressful for them to be on their back. That is because they're struggling to breathe. Their lungs are up here in the top portion of their shell. So whenever they're on their back, their organs are just kind of crushing their lungs. So it makes it really difficult for them to breathe. Same how whenever we're hanging upside down, and it makes it really hard for us. They can breathe for quite a while that way, but they need to be flipped back over. And since usually we're not the ones that flip them back over, they do have mechanisms that help them flip over. If he was on his back, he would basically turn into a little top, and he would spin and spin and spin until he was able to get his head or one of his legs on the ground to flip himself back over. Aquatic turtles have it easier than this guy because their shells are usually a lot flatter. They can just pry their neck back and flip themselves over a lot easier. But with that, I'll go ahead and bring out our next friend. This here is Marinara. She is a blue-tongued skink. We have skinks here in Missouri. She is not one of them. She's native to Australia. But the skinks that we have here are maybe the length of her tail, and they're way smaller than her. We have the broad-headed skink, which is pretty brown in color, and then we have the five-lined skink that, if you've seen those bright blue tails racing away from you, that's what they are. A lot of the things that we see is she looks like a snake, a lot of people think, but there are some very identifiable differences between her, a lizard, and a snake. First of all, she has eyelids. If you noticed Amla earlier, he was not blinking. He has a scale over his eyes. She does not have a scale over her eyes. She has like a conventional way of blinking like we do. She just blinks them. And then she also has external ear holes. The snakes do not. So you can kind of see it behind her jaw there. Oh, she's giving you a better look. What a good girl. And of course, she has legs. But those other two features are very important because we have something called a glassless lizard that exists. And they don't have legs. They're basically just a snake with a different head, is kind of what you describe them as. These guys are very, very well known in the pet trade. The blue-tongued skink is. A lot of lizards make great pets, but she's pretty well known for being a pet. And as she's named, you can see her little blue tongue. She's sticking it out. That is to tell predators that she's dangerous. She's not. She's telling them she's either venomous or poisonous, or just overall you don't want to mess with her. She's neither one. She's just kind of lying to everyone, but that is a form of mimicry. So whenever she's cornered or in a bad spot, she'll open her mouth really big and stick out her tongue as far as it can go to show off that blue color to show the predators that she shouldn't be eaten or messed with. Another thing, if that doesn't work, is that skinks can drop their tail. She has a special bone and scaling pattern that if she puts her tail at a 90-degree, it'll just snap right off, and she'll be able to leave it behind. It will grow back, but it'll grow back shorter, a different color, look very different from what it was before. And if you see how big she is, it would take a lot of energy for her to grow that tail back. It's a complete last resort, and it's a really good one because if you've ever tried to catch a skink, and if they do this, they can trick you pretty easily. You see that bright blue tail on a lot of our five-lined skinks, and if they drop that, you're like, I've got you, and then you're just holding their tail there. That happens to a lot of their predators as well, and it can be pretty frustrating for them. But with that, I will push it over to my colleague, Brett.
Good evening. My name is Brett Claypool. I am kind of one of the exceptions of the interns. While all of them go to the same school and have the same major, I actually go to school in South Dakota State University, pursuing a major in agronomy and ecology and environmental science. My current goal after college is I want to pursue entomology, or the study of insects, hopefully focusing on the ecological side, but with agriculture as a secondary objective. With our nature programs, we have, of course, our 15 live animals that we have at our nature center that we will occasionally rotate around. But alongside that, we have several pelts and skulls to show off to the kids. So while our mammals aren't exactly as interesting as our live subjects, they do have some textile feel where they can feel the pelts, see what an animal might feel like that they've never actually felt before. And alongside that, we can use them as a guide to help them understand what these animals are kind of about. So right here, I have a beaver pelt as well as a skull of a beaver. This is, of course, a replica skull, seeing as we don't really have very many actual skulls since they are very fragile and hard to upkeep. But with beavers, they are extremely important creatures. They are called a keystone species because despite their relatively low populations in areas, they have a large impact on the environment around them. Most people see them as pests because they chop down trees and occasionally eat their crops. But whenever they chop down trees, they're doing several things at once. Whenever they chop down a tree, they are creating more ground for new trees to grow. So new growth as well as new plant life and more animals come through that area. Another thing is whenever they chop down trees, they will use that wood to build dams in streams and rivers, which then create new ponds and lakes, which to us humans is not very nice, or at least not very appreciated. But to other animals, we get more waterfowl, such as ducks and other migratory bird species. We get new fish, as well as other aquatic animals that mostly would be insects. But those new environments help create more ecosystems for animals that may have been pushed out of their past ecosystems due to our pollution and such. Another study that I did during my time in college actually found that beaver dams are able to collect about 75% of pollution from upstream and keep it in that dam area to prevent it from polluting downstream. As well as that, they are exceptionally good at chewing through wood. An average beaver could chew through wood about this size in about 3 to 5 minutes, which is fairly quick. At least it's quicker than I could do. Alongside that, we also have our fox pelt. The kids usually like this one a lot because of how soft it is. It is also very nice coloration, but what we like to do with this is to help showcase what these animals can do. So foxes are well known for their very good hearing. So what they can actually do during the winter time is they will hear a mouse going through 3 feet of snow. So under 3 feet of snow, they will actually be able to hear that. Wow. So they will stalk their prey through that snow, jump up into the air, and then dive through that snow in order to catch the mouse. Alongside that, they are very good predators. They are very agile. They can actually run along fence tops, which helps them escape many predators. They'll also eat just about anything. Similar to raccoons, they will eat trash, but they will also eat berries and other such things. And then another very important mammal that we always bring to our presentations is our black bear skull and paw. This helps showcase to our younger audience that while they may not have seen a black bear in their life, they are slowly returning to the U.S., or not the U.S., Missouri specifically, because black bears used to be very common before hunters kind of pushed them out of the state. But as they've been making their way up north, and in fact, I believe it was a month or two ago, there was a sighting of a black bear in Gladstone area. But with that, we help indicate to the kids, stay away from the black bears. If you see one, here's what you should do. With black bears specifically, you are supposed to fight back against them since they are usually scared of humans. Grizzly bears, on the other hand, which thankfully we don't have to deal with, you are supposed to play dead since they are a lot more aggressive than our black bear compatriots. Other than that, I kind of want to leave a little bit more time for my last intern here, which is Kyla. Thank you very much.
Hello all, my name is Kyla Spradlin. I'm yet another student at Missouri Western State University, also pursuing wildlife conservation and management. I'm going into my final year, yay! And I'm also a returner to this intern position here at Smithville Lake Nature Center. I grew up in a family of teachers. Teaching has been something that just kind of runs through my family. And as somebody who was homeschooled for a little bit, something my mom always tried to do is get us into nature centers. That was a very consistent thing in my life. So I grew up knowing that I kind of wanted to do something with education. However, what they always tell you is you need to do an internship so that you know that the thing you like doing, you want to make sure that it's what you want to do for the rest of your life. And, well, I did. I actually found out about this position from another student at Missouri Western. About 3 years ago, she worked here. And I was like, well, I need to jump on this opportunity. And I love it even more than I thought I would. A lot of our job is in education, obviously, like we've just been talking about a ton. And I love working with the kids, it's super rewarding. Something I also want to talk about, because we've heard a lot about the educational aspects of our job, is that we do a lot of outside work, almost equaling the amount of time that we do preparing for presentations, going to libraries, doing all of those things. One of the big projects that we have is our prairie restoration, project that we do. We've got about 150 acres of prairie, and, well, that's important because prairies are an endangered habitat. They are slowly going away from Missouri, and we're trying to bring them back. And that is why you may have noticed I didn't bring any animal friends, but I did bring some plants. I have here a couple really pretty flowers that we wouldn't have if we didn't have any prairies. So this first one here is called Prairie Blazing Star. If you can see at the top, it's browning a little bit. The cool thing about this plant is that the blooms at the beginning begin before the rest begin. So throughout the season, it kind of extends the season of the flowering because it starts at the top and then works its way to the bottom, which is kind of a cool aspect of it. This is a plant called Missouri ironweed. It's named that because, well, they found it by the Missouri River here in Missouri. So it's a really pretty flower, really purple color. Purple and yellow seem to be a very consistent prairie color. Here I have prairie rosinweed. It's a little bit wilted, but it's in the sunflower family, if you can imagine it. And a fun fact about this is that it has a sap that the early settlers and the Native Americans would actually chew as kind of like a gum. Kind of a cool thing. And then this last plant here is actually called Rattlesnake Master. Doesn't look like a typical flower. Some of these buds here, the brighter white ones, are the ones that are actually blooming. Some of the other ones have died away a little bit. And the reason they called it this is because it was used for lots of medicine. And a lot of the Native Americans thought that it could cure like venomous bites from a rattlesnake. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I feel like we would use it a lot more if it was. But that is one of the big things that we do is our prairie restoration project. We also do lots of tree maintenance. We have trees planted all around the campgrounds. So we're sent out to water them, mulch them, stake them if they're kind of leaning over a little bit. And then even pruning them so that any lagging branches kind of go over, take those out of the way so they're not a hazard to people, and so that they grow a little bit more big and beautiful. We also do shout out the full-timers, see what they're doing with their lagoon maintenance, and then some of the weed killing, we shadow them doing that. And then we do any odd jobs that people need of us. This has been such a rewarding opportunity to have. And again, we all got to actually try out what we wanted to do, and it has benefited all of us greatly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'll answer one question for you already. Yes, they walk around with a snake wrapped around them in my office all day long, and you got to pay attention when you turn the corner. I'll just say that listening to them every time, I can't express how impressed I am and proud of having them all with us. I hope this gives you kind of a new perspective on what important work they've done and what we do at the park system. We've kept data since 2012 of the park naturalists. They've performed about 1,442 outreach programs since 2012, and that's reaching over 78,000 youth and adult participants. I say we're so proud of their legacy and hope for further support and growth in the future. And I will conclude and take your questions, and they will hang around till the end of the meeting if you want to play with snakes and lizards and ask more questions. So,
Thank you very much. By the way, I was very impressed at the poise expressed by the young people. I'll go, but I just want to say that they were very entertaining. They were informative, and certainly I wished I was as articulate at their age. Even now, they did a very wonderful job of making the presentation enjoyable and interesting. So thank you for that. You were going to say further.
our Nature Center hours.
Yes.
It's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. What's weekends, Aaron?
Because we have parent programs on Saturdays, they come in at noon, or sometime it would be noon to about 5, and then on Sunday, during the summer, we are also basically 4:35 o'clock.
And if anybody ever wants to come in, and we will make exceptions, we'll make it happen. We'd like to show off our stuff.
And as far as if somebody, and I'm doing this for the benefit of those who may be watching or listening, if they want to learn more about this, what is the website that they should go to? Where would they find that information?
Find it on Parks Department on the Clay County webpage, www.claycountymo.gov, /parks and under Nature Center. Or you can contact Park Office at 816-407-3400.
And is there any other, I'm going to go to Commissioner Lawson next. Is there any other contact information you'd like to impart, as long as we have, the spotlight on you a bit?
That's good. You can always contact me or Aaron. So.
Very good. Commissioner Lawson, I believe you sought recognition.
Thank you. I just want to say how impressed I was with all of you. It kind of reaffirms your faith in the future. Sometimes we see all the worst of what young people do, but this is really impressive. And I love the nature. We live out in the country, and I enjoy that so much. Walk down into the woods, you see bobcats, you see everything, and it's great to have it there. And it's great for you to foster that, and show young people, just like some of you said, because of something my mother did or something someone did that built your faith in what you're doing today, you're going to have that same opportunity to foster that love for young people that come and visit with you. So I applaud you for what you do, and I really appreciate what you do. And this has just been an extremely enjoyable meeting. No fighting, no yelling, just lots of great information. So thank you all so much for coming.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Yeah, show up for another week and we'll see what happens, right? Actually, John, thanks so much for putting this together. Although the question that you answered prematurely was not the question I had. The question I had was, do you walk around with a snake around your neck? Because if you do, then I'm coming to that office to check that out.
That would be no.
No.
There's a first time for everything.
Of course. In all seriousness, my day job, as many know, is working with an organization that is trying to restore many of the wildlands across the Kansas City area. We work on 40 acres of remnant prairie in South Kansas City, for example, and about 16 other sites. So I appreciate all the work that you are doing and love it, and just want to encourage you to look all over for locations where your future can come to. Because my colleague is absolutely right. The energy that you bring is very obvious today, and there are a number of organizations that would like to see that energy. And I would say, if you haven't already, I assume, because we work with Missouri DNR, Missouri Department of Conservation as well, that they are always looking for talent. And so you have certainly displayed that today. And I would certainly encourage you to look in those directions. And finally, I note that many of you, if not all of you, are going to Missouri Western. I take great pride in the notion that you all decided to come here tonight as opposed to watching the Chiefs work out at your campus, which shows your love for what you do, and I thank you for it. And again, John, thank you for bringing them here today.
Any further questions or comments before we conclude our discussion this evening? John, do you have anything you'd like to kind of leave us, any thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Like I say, I'm just overly impressed with them at all times. I'm looking at my replacements is what I am. And we're training them, and we're proud of it, so.
Well, something that I think would be well to be said, and that is, we are obviously impressed with the interns and all that, but I think we also owe a debt of gratitude towards the park employees up there who are mentoring these young people, because it's something that is, as you say, we are all training our replacements no matter where we are in life. And the fact that we have the mentoring going on in Parks Department to bring in a new generation of naturalists is absolutely important to our quality of life and perhaps even to our survival at some level. So thank you so much for all the workers out there at Parks, the interns and the regular employees. It's a great pleasure to have them here with us.
Thank you all.
That concludes our discussion item. That brings us to County Administrator comments. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, tonight, the comments, other than the next business session is August 14th, next week, 6 p.m.
Very good. That brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Lawson.
I don't want us to forget that today is Purple Heart Day, and we want to remember all those who served, gave their lives, or put themselves in harm's way to protect us. So we want to keep them in our prayers and our thoughts.
Commissioner Wagner, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Withington. Very well. I just want to piggyback on what Commissioner Lawson said about Purple Heart Day, and she's totally right. It is something that that these veterans, particularly these veterans, but all veterans, we owe a debt of gratitude that we cannot repay. I'm happy to tell you that this is, in fact, a Purple Heart County. That was done some time ago, but I think it's something that we need to always remember. These particular individuals who were conspicuous, at least they were recognized for their conspicuous valor. There are a lot of veterans who have shown valor and just have not been recognized, but certainly those who have earned a Purple Heart deserve a special gratitude from us and our freedom. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.